This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Excited to have Lynn Winters back here joining us again and really talk about hypnosis and self-hypnosis and all that she does to help people out there get through so much. And really excited that she's joining us again. It's been a great round of shows and we've been here for many weeks now. And I know for today, we're going to kind of hone in a little bit on, well, someday is today. What are your dreams? Map backwards and everything. But she's here joining us today and I would love for her give her a warm welcome and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Thank you for having me. I am certified in hypnosis. I do past life regression hypnosis also. I'm a Reiki master, so I do group Reiki sessions and private Reiki sessions. I also do private counseling. You can reach me on Keuka Energy Arts. That's Keuka energyarts.com if you're interested in that. And I do directing and I do performing arts things. I do a lot of different things.
Got it. And for today, just to back up a little bit of your background for people that may not know, you've been, tell me a little about your certifications, accreditations that go hand in hand with the work that you're doing.
I'm certified in hypnosis. That's any kind of hypnosis that may happen to do with cigarette control or overcoming trauma. I also am certified in advanced hypnosis of past life regression hypnosis, which is always fascinating. I also do counseling or just feedback work with people. Sometimes people talk to me about issues that they may have, and sometimes I do what I call art counseling, where people ask me how they can get from where they are to where they want to be. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, because really it's more prevalent than you think that people that you know are very talented and they have wonderful ideas, but they can't seem to move forward with them.
Got it. Well, thank you for being here. And let's get started to talk about this inner transformation that you help people with. All right, where do we start?
Well, I think I would start with someday is today.
Today.
Yep. I think that everyone that you know, including yourself, have always made statements like, someday I want to such and such, or someday I'm going to such and such. Everyone has those dreams and those ambitions. And really, if you listen to those, they're very exciting, they're innovative, and they sound really fun to do. But most people never get to them, and they say, I'm going to do this first, then. I call that like after this, then,
Yes. ...
And I've been guilty of that myself. So I think that the first step would be, I'm going to give you a few little tips today on exercises maybe that you can do to get yourself from where you are to those dreams and then actually living them and executing them. So if you write down all of the sentences that you've started with, someday I'm going to, or someday I want to, and just make a list of all of them and just look at them, you're going to feel an emotional attraction to each one that you've written down. And I think that's a really, really good place to start. Then I also want you to look at your childhood. When you were little and you were playing, what kind of games did you like to play? You know, what were your dreams then? Were you attracted to be an astronaut? Did you really like coloring? You know, what did you really like to do? Because I think that is always in people's dreams, whatever it is. There's nothing wrong with any of them. Just try to figure out, what were you attracted to? I think that's how we find our calling, is through our attractions. A lot of people say things like, oh, I think I'm going to be a dental hygienist or go into computers. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not their passion. They have other passions, but they're going to try to find some kind of job that gives them an income. Or finding work based on money is never going to fulfill you. It's never going to fulfill your heart. That doesn't mean that you can't make money and a living in a field that you really love. But the way you're going to do that is to find something that you're super attracted to, that you really love, that every time you think about it or talk about it, it makes you feel really excited, that's letting you know from an energetic level what your calling is. And so go into that and explore that more. Sometimes you'll know as an adult now. I even have had clients that say they have no clue. They're completely shut down from what they're attracted to. And so if that's the case and you're an adult, look at your childhood. What did you really like to do and play when you were little?
I miss Barbies. I miss playing My Little Pony and Barbies. I used to put like Barbie dolls in like pots and make them like cars around the. It's funny,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you lose that childhood play, and then I never had a girl. So, but you like
Right.
you lose that childhood play. But how important is that? Because it's something that keeps your imagination alive. Like my 8-year-old son plays with Legos, and he plays with my other one plays with cars, and it's like I watch them, and I'm like. I wish I had that brain. Like I want it back. It's still there, right? It's deep
It's still
within.
there. Let me ask you a question. I know you're supposed to ask me the question, so I'm
No,
going to ask you one.
stop. Ask me anything. This is cool.
So what kind of car do you drive?
Well, I have a 2012 Ford Focus. It's a little old car. I've been using it for years, and I finally just got an SUV, a brand new Kia Telluride, like an 8-seater. So, but I was dreaming to have like the Mercedes and Range Rover, but not in my budget. Why? What does
But
that say about me?
I think that when you're putting Barbie dolls in pots and driving them around like they're cars, you're probably interested in having a car that gives you a lift every time you get in it. Not that the cars that you entered are not really fantastic. They're very practical
Practical.
and they, yeah, but there are ways that you can participate in your attraction to cars, like going to car shows. Have you ever gone to a car show?
And
I mean,
my kids went last weekend. That's so funny you said that. I didn't go, but yeah, I don't like old cars. I don't like old cars, but I like new cars.
there are a lot of new cars, especially if you're in New York City. The Javits Center has new car
I love
displays
the car
all
show
the.
when that comes. I'm always there every like April. I am for that. Yep.
I think it's important to follow whatever lead we get to what we're attracted to, because you never know what's going to happen when you go to one of those car shows with new cars at the Javits Center. You might meet the love of your life. You might find some other. Look at your eyes twinkle. See.
Yes, it did twinkle. I'm like,
Mm-hmm. That's how you're going to find whatever is meant for you, that's best for you, is to follow the lead of the attractions that you have.
yeah. All right. Thank you for the heads up on this. I'm going to continue.
But
I-
good.
Where do we leave off? I'm sorry. Continue.
So another thing to look at is, what are your dreams? What, not dreams when you're sleeping, but what dreams do you have? Like, um, I would love to have a cottage on the lake, or where do you really want to live if you could live anywhere? Make a list of places that you really want to visit. Make a list of each dream category that you might have, and make a list of like 10 of them, you know, and then look at them. And as you're writing them, really visualize yourself experiencing them. And you're going to notice that there are different, I'm going to call them emotional flavors. There's different feelings that you have in each one that you're going to be writing. And do it really fast so it comes from your heart, not your head. And then go back and circle 3 of the top dreams that you may have, that you're really attracted to. And then after that, put them in an order. And this way, you're going to really be able to examine the difference between the life that you're living and the life that you're dreaming of that's for you.
Well, I really feel that, you can empower. I just love the whole, we've talked visualization in the past, but like really, like you can have what you want. You can, but what? It's so sad. Life gets in the way and we get so distracted, I feel like at times, and it's not fair. And we lose that passion, we lose that urge, we lose the, I'm just thinking about my children right now. But yeah, it's like I have so much in my mind that I want to do and get done. I just feel like it's impossible when you have
I,
kids.
yeah, I hear what you're saying, and it is a huge challenge, especially if your intention is to be a good parent. I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah.
However, I do think that, number one, that this world, this society today is way too full, and it's driving us to be full. And it's a measuring system that we've been programmed to have, is more is better. And I think less is more
Yes,
and
I
less
know.
is better. And so if we become more aware of what really attracts us and what's really important to us, I think we kind of get pulled off by what other people think or our parents think, or or what society says that we ought to be doing, or this to measure us by the amount of money that we're having. I'm not talking about money that is to be responsible. I'm talking about money measuring your worth,
Yeah.
or your body measuring your worth, or where you live, or anything like that. I think that we need to really get back to what makes us excited and inspires us, because we're not really being encouraged to make that a priority. And then work within that will make it shrink. The measuring system and the influences that we're getting, they're going to shrink the more we invest in finding out what it is that we really love and what our passions are. And I want to add one more thing about why that's important.
Sure.
I think that the reason that getting the information of how you want to spend your time and your energy from the passions that you have, I think the passions that we were born with are sort of the yellow brick road that the universe gives us to show us the directions that they want us to go in, that we could excel in, that are really going to be the most emotionally and physically and spiritually fulfilling for us. And so it's not just play. We also are taught that play or recreation or doing nothing is lazy. I don't necessarily think that that's true. I think that it's equally as important to uh, don't just do something, sit there, is just as important as taking a physical action, or doing a job, but we don't get encouraged to do that, which
Yeah.
only means that we don't listen to ourselves. And so this
Oh,
is just a way of getting back to listening to yourself. Like you mentioned, your children and what they're doing, they're listening to themselves. So what we want to do is get ourselves as adults back to that and encourage them to continue to listen to themselves. So whatever they're attracted to, if you're really attracted to something and you want to spend your energy and your time going as far in and as deep at that in that topic, you're going to be really good at that, and you're going to have it living off of that. So it's really important, I think.
all right. Thank you. And, Lynn, with the work you're doing and, how you've been helping people over the years, you see people who want their dreams fulfilled, who want, not really getting them, but you have, with the work you're doing, you're able to kind of help them along to guide them to get these type of dreams, right? And you mentioned the word backwards. What does that mean? Like,
I would say that that means that when you look at how you're spending your days, your months, your weeks, and your years, um, it's probably you're probably going to hear that sentence after this then. And it just causes us to get farther and farther away from who we are and what
yeah,
we are meant to do and what we want to do. And so it's really a challenge to find a way to start doing that. So once you do the suggestions that I made of writing down what your dreams are, and then writing a whole page or 10, and then choosing three and then putting them in order, you're going to start feeling the attraction again that you organically have for certain topics. Okay. Once you have that,
yeah,
then go into your imagination. Now you need to look at this next step as if you can have anything and it'll all be given to you. It'll all unfold without any obstacles. If you don't
yeah,
look at this next section like that, then you're going to limit yourself to really what you desire. And so get into an inspirational feeling where you feel like inspired and very excited, and there's no obstacles. What do you really, really want? Okay, so now you go, how do I really want my year to go? Like, for example, I want to hibernate January and February and not go anywhere unless I want to. I want
yeah,
to just I want to just hibernate. I want to make soup. I want to just stay home. And so, what else do you want? I want to, in the summertime, I want to do such and such. I want to take a very big trip every year in April in Europe. I mean, what kind of year do you want? So write January through December out each month, and then write exactly how you would like to live those months, assuming it would be successful. How do you want to
yeah,
live those months? And then take 1 month and map that out. How do you want to live that month? Do you want to work at your job only 3 days a week? Or do you want to not work weekends or have 4-day weekends, or do you want to work every other day, or do you want to only work mornings? How do you want to live your month? Then take a look at your week. Now, I have a feeling about, I've
Yeah.
been doing this for such a long time, that Mondays feel a certain way to me and Tuesdays feel a certain way. Each day feels a certain way to me. And so I have matched my activities and my job and what I do with certain days of the week that seem like they fit for me.
Yeah.
And also look at your day. I'm a day person. I'm a morning person. And so I usually do my thinking work and my creative things early in the morning. That's really where I shine. And so,
Mm-hmm.
and then I know that there's certain times of the day where I need to really pull back. So really be honest and design your year, your month, your week, and your day according to you and your attractions. And so this should actually give you the best usage of your energy, because everything is about your energy.
Got it. Thank you. And, for those new timers out there, there's, the work that you're doing with your self-hypnosis series, I think it's always important to bring up as well, because this is something they can work on home alone too. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's an excellent suggestion, because doing all of this kind of work, you may find that there's a certain resistance that you have to certain things, or that you're doing something else instead of this.
Yeah.
Whatever is blocking you, the Winter Self Hypnosis CD is really great. There are 7 targeted recordings that are targeting everyday common conditions that block people from living this way, from living a life that they really, really want to have. And remember that today is someday. This is a way that you can work on getting rid of those blockages in your own home, around your own schedule, and it's a lot more affordable for people than going to a private therapist. Not that that's not a great thing, it's just another support option.
Got it. Well, I also just want to point out that if you are working with someone, to help establish these types of changes, these types of habits, what is the upkeep process? Because is it good to keep going in a circle with groups, to keep it on a regular basis? Like, can we kind of regress in a sense when it comes to things, or do we need to keep, focus and steady with keeping up with this?
That's a good question. I would say the answer to the first part of that is, how long does it take? It takes until you decide to fully change yourself and that you have created a new familiar of how you're living. That's how long it will take. The more you put in, the more you're committed, the more regular you do it. That's number one key. You have control of all of that. And secondly, if you find yourself, now here's an example of that. I often give, I call them assignments, but really they're just suggestions to help people have a tool at home. If you have a resistance to reading, or you have a resistance to writing, like the little suggestions that I made today, and you will do everything but those things, then it would be a good idea for you to look at why you have that resistance, and that why you would not want to use that tool to be the best that you can be and turn yourself into who you really want to be. So, can you stall yourself out? Yes. I If I'm going to change something about myself, I'm going to go in it with the answer of yes, and not the answer of no with limitation. I saw this movie many, many years ago. I think the name of it was Network, and it was in this town that they were really, really angry at a television station, and they all kind of flipped out at one time, and they all threw their windows open and screamed out, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore." You need to be at a place where you're just not going to take your own behavior anymore in order to make changes.
Yeah.
That's how long it takes.
Yeah. Ugh. Well, also, you've been doing this for quite some time. Have you ever worked with someone who became, you've helped change their pattern, change their behavior, and fell off the bandwagon in a sense? Has that happened? Does that happen? What are
Yes.
things we should be looking at so this doesn't happen? Yes.
That's a very good point. Yes, I've seen people uh, do. Well, I saw this a client that I had once. He had a severe Lyme disease. I mean, really paralysis and extreme pain, and it pretty much was halting his life. And he was going to this well-known doctor for it in New York, and getting medication and slowly getting a little bit better. And then he started to take Reiki every week, and it got better really quickly. And he only had a little bit of tingling in his feet and his fingertips left. He went back to his doctor, and his doctor said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. It's just miraculous how quickly you've improved to such a great degree. Well, he came for a couple more sessions, and then he stopped coming.
Wow.
And he got much, much sicker and died. Yeah. And I think, and it's very sad, I think that the reason he quit, and yes, he made improvements, is because he didn't value the wonderful choices he was making for himself. I'm not necessarily talking about how great Reiki is, although it's really wonderful. I'm talking about he didn't give himself credit for the courage and the wisdom that he had to make the choice to get that kind of help for himself, and the commitment that he made. He didn't value his own choices and wisdom that he was exercising at that time. That's why he just thought it was just going to stick. He made improvements because of what he did.
Well, what else for today? We have 6 more minutes left in the show, and there's always something new that you like leaving off with our listeners. And do you mind sharing
No.
something? Go for it.
Lately, and as I'm doing this myself, everything I just told you today, I'm doing for myself, and I do this periodically. And one of the things that I do once I've done the what do I really, really want? Am I living the life that I really want? Am I looking at my years, and I'm looking at my months and weeks? How do I actually execute the next step to remind myself that I want to live this different way? I keep a schedule book, and I go through my schedule book, and I start backwards. I start at the end of the year, and I change those days exactly as I want them. And I do every single one and every single page until I get to the present. And I'll notice that there's a few commitments that I may have made in the next week or two that I really have to hold and keep. But I put the same schedule in around those. And so this way, I'm starting to walk my way forward into a life that I want to be living. And it's a lot easier for me, if I write it down and I work from the back where it's completed all the way into the present. I can just gradually follow my own map into what I want.
Good. And we're going to map out. What should we do? How are we mapping it out?
First of all, you need to find out what you really, really love and what you desire. If you don't already know that, look at your childhood. It'll give you information. And then you also want to nail that down, make a list of about 10 of the dreams that you have, the things that you really love and want and desire. Get that down to 3, reorganize it from 1 to 3 of the most important ones. And then look at the way you want to spend your year, write that out. How do you want to spend each month, each week, each day? And then once you get very clear on that, and I usually need to sleep on it at that point just to make sure that I have it really strong and that that's really what I want. Then I go back to my schedule book. I start at the very end and I write it in all from like December 31st backwards to the present, exactly as I want to live it until I get to the present. And then I just follow my schedule book.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And for someone who's interested in talking to you to do some work, right? Whether it be, Reiki, whether it be the past life regression, hypnosis, or for your series, you offer initial consultation?
Yes, I do. And all you have to do is go to the website. That's Keuka, Keuka, energyarts.com. And you can contact me and we can set up an appointment for you.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for being here, for joining us. And it's spelled KEUKAENERGYARTS.com. And always, you can just Google your name, it pops up. We can reach out to you there. Thank you again, and hope you have a fantastic day.
Thank you. You too. Appreciate it.
Thanks again, Lynn Winters. Always a pleasure. Bye-bye, and congratulations. Bye. Thank you for being our Professional of the Year. Bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.